And I'm not feeling the love from this Liberal government. It seems like they have money for everybody else.
Carney's breaking records. Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today, it's not the records he wants to break. We've got separatist movement is absolutely exploding because of floor crossers, corruption, all sorts of fiscal mismanagement because of Mark Carney. So let's jump into this. Starting this episode off, we got Shreya Teese posting the latest Leger Alberta poll modeled out. And the poll here, you can see 53% for the UPC and the NDP down to 36%, other at 11, and modeled out is 70 seats. Look at that, 17 for the NDP, just getting annihilated, minus 21. And look at that, and that's all going to the UPC. And we're not surprised, are we? I mean, with all the undemocratic floor crossers, your votes basically get nullified. I mean, we saw one with Matt Genereux in Alberta. We'll get to him in a minute. First, we've got Naheed Nenshi here, pissed off at Elon Musk basically backing the Alberta separatist movement. David Parker posting, yeah, Alberta independence is the only way we save what is left of it. Elon Musk saying, yeah. I mean, one simple tweet like that, and it just blows up everywhere. Now this has been seen by millions of people. Naheed Nenshi replying with this: I'm ready to fight like hell for this country and against anyone trying to tear it apart. The richest man in the world wants Canada to become the 51st state and now is amplifying America's separatism. So let's ask the question, who is funding this movement? Albertans deserve to know. Yeah, I think Mark Carney is doing all of the movement building alone. I don't think there's any funding behind this. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe there's funding. It's one thing after another. We got Melissa posting this. Interesting, looks like Alberta and Canada gave more money to Ukraine Energy Support Fund. Didn't hear about this one, mainstream media. 57.9 million came from the United Kingdom, 10 million euros from Italy, and 155,000 euros came from Alberta in Canada. Further contributions expected to be 12.5 million euros from Canada. Why? The corruption is rampant. Here's just another example of why separatists are mad. You've got these Calistanis, once again, they have a major stronghold in Calgary. They go around with their posters and their little fake jails with Modi. It's absolutely absurd. Chanting stuff that any other Canadian would go to jail for, or at least be arrested for, but they somehow are always immune to saying that they want to end the life of another prime minister of another country. It's crazy. Yeah, okay. They need to go back to their precious India, Pakistan, or wherever. Enough already. Canadians and Albertans are both unhappy with the state of our country, jobs, the deals that are not being done. We've got this clip here of Jameson Greer, Trump admin, who says they'll have protocol layers to the USMCA because Carney's not getting the job done. He's not getting a deal that's bringing prosperity into places like Alberta.
So there are certainly things in there that are valuable, but we do have to have some kind of a protocol or something with Mexico and one with Canada separately, I think, to deal with issues specific to those countries. Our import-export profile is different with each country. You know, the labor situation in each country is different. The reasons why we have deficits with these countries are different. So it necessitates two separate protocols that we can, I think, layer over those load-bearing pillars of USMCA.
And sadly, Mexico's the one who's much further ahead in negotiations. It seems Carney doesn't even care to even talk about this. They're not doing anything. Here we've got former conservative, new liberal Matt Genereux saying the Alberta separatist movement is a danger to Canada.
In Alberta right now, the strength of what the Prime Minister's doing in terms of diversification argument is something that Alberta has been trying to do for a very long time, whether it be respective provincial or federal governments. And to see the amount of people that are interested in doing business in Alberta, and because of the strengths of the investments the Prime Minister has made in the ports in Vancouver, in the infrastructure, the amount of support to the agriculture community that has happened. There's so much right now that it's exciting for Alberta to be a part and be at the table for a lot of these conversations. And I feel with the Albertans right now are very much in a place where there's a conversation happening that's I think a very serious threat to our country, and something that I will stand against every single day. That we're a united country, and something like Alberta separatism is a scary, scary idea. And to have the Prime Minister continue to stress the importance of Canadian unity. He's often in Alberta. He's sharing the message that he's delivering on the world stage. It's going to have long-term impacts, and in terms of the opportunities for people and businesses in Alberta. And I couldn't be more proud to be an Albertan and support this tremendous Prime Minister.
Excellent. This guy is such a traitor. And if you look at his flight logs, he flies to Vancouver quite a bit, which is likely where he's going to announce he'll be running for in the next election. He'll get a Vancouver riding because Albertans absolutely despise this guy. With that, we've got major breaking. Support for the province of Alberta to secede from Canada hits the highest level since tracking began, as in the most in Canadian history. 42% of Albertans would vote to separate if everyone considered a protest vote followed through. So that's initial support of separatism. Decided vote is 27% of people will vote to separate, and 15% considering a protest vote. This number before was around 30%. 35 the last time we looked at it. This is with considering and decided, and now we're up to 42%, as in it's gone up around 7 to 10% since the last time they did some tracking on this. Carney is doing this to our country. He is literally ripping apart the country, not just in Alberta. You'll have Saskatchewan, you have Quebec as well, and now there's a BC Prosperity Group. When I first showed it, it had a couple thousand. Now it's got almost 19,000 members. Now, I don't think this is going to happen in British Columbia because there's too many NDP wingnuts out here, but people out here aren't happy either. And to throw a monkey wrench into everything, we've got First Nations court challenge may block Alberta separatism itself, not just the petition drive. The First Nations are trying to shut this down so they can't even vote on that. How undemocratic. Argument that a province leaving the country serves Indigenous treaties may affect Quebec too. This is going to piss off a lot of people. Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation and other litigants are challenging the very idea that a province can split from Canada, and in doing so sever the constitutionally protected First Nation treaties. They want handouts and they want no one to ever separate. Just unbelievably greedy. This is going through the courts right now. They're trying to block the petition from even going forward. It says on Friday, Leonard granted 1 month stay to ensure Elections Canada doesn't begin certifying the signature sheets before she has ruled on the ACFN's case. Wow. Meanwhile, what do we hear coming out of the Liberal convention? This guy here, ex-Google guy, Patrick Pichette, was a former executive senior at Google. He also worked at Twitter until Elon Musk fired him, talking about Canadians having to pay $500,000 to be able to exit and leave Canada.
And on the other side of it, let me give a bit of a sober on the protect side. So let me give you a few facts. In Canada, the minute you have your degree, if it's a professional degree, right? There's something in the Canada kind of free trade agreement. I got the wrong acronym, but you get it. It's called the TN program. So Microsoft, I finished from University of Waterloo with my computer degree. Microsoft phones me, offers me a job, 300 grand a year, right? All I have to do is show up at the border, apply for a TN visa, right? And I get this 3-year, like no questions asked. It costs $30. And now I moved to Microsoft. We as Canadians have subsidized my education to the tune of, you pick the number, $500,000, right? 500,000. And if it's a graduate student, go up 30,000 TN go to the US every year. You want to save yourself $5 to $10 billion? Shut the TN program. And then keep them in, or make them pay their $500,000 so that if they leave, I'm okay with that. You want to go to the US? Give me back my money. Like my dad, my mom, you all work every day to offer them their education. So we need both sides. We need to fight on one side to make sure that we bring the very best talent of the world because they all want to come here now. It's absolutely wonderful. But you can't have the sieve on the other side. You can't let $5 billion or $10 billion a year of your hard-earned cash so that Microsoft can get smarter.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. So this is obviously the worst approach, is forcing Canadians to pay $500,000 just to be able to leave and go to America. What is this, North Korea? The solution here is simple. Make Canada an enticing place to want to stay. Get rid of all these taxes and laws and rules and regulations, and stop spending so much on all these subsidies. Stop funding these woke universities that are pushing out this propaganda nonsense. They can roll out some sort of plan, but it needs to be upfront from the start. Like with doctors, when they go through their training, they have to train with another doctor, and essentially I believe the math works out to be like 200 grand or something worth of value that they get learning how to complete being a doctor, and thus they have to stay in Canada for a couple of years. Otherwise they have to pay that back, and that's a straight up thing that they have to do if they shut down their practice within a couple of years of becoming a doctor, because taxpayers funded into that. Well, if they want to do that, they need to be upfront about that. But to just say, let's just start charging these guys $500,000 for leaving our country, that's absurd. If they're going to have a policy like that, then it needs to be from the beginning before anyone goes to university in Canada. Because if they don't want to participate in that, then they can go to university in America or somewhere else and not have to participate in having to work in Canada for 5 years before they can leave or whatever it may be. But regardless, we should just make Canada the most enticing place to want to be and not have to deal with any of this nonsense. Right now, it's the worst place to be. And that's why all these people are going to America, because that's where a good life is. It's one clip after another. We've got Mark Nixon posting this. Liberal support by the working class has collapsed. There's literally one person in the room.
Are there union members here?
Audience? Oh, one lone voice, but you are our partners. Yes, thank you very much to the strong union movement in Canada, because the union movement is our secret sauce to success in terms of all of the work that Gregor is doing to build Canada strong.
Yet one person. This is not the secret to the Liberals' success. Never in history of Canada has a party destroyed the country and divided it more than the Liberals. I can't get over how many brainwashed sheep that keep supporting them. The only way out is Western separation. I mean, the separatist movement is exploding right now. We'll get to that in another video. We've got more liberal nonsense. In this case, we've got Marilyn Gladu. What does she have to say?
Well, it's getting close to Valentine's Day, but I'm not feeling the love from this Liberal government. It seems like they have money for everybody else. $2 billion for climate change in other countries, $1 billion for women's reproductive rights in other countries, $500 million to build roads and bridges in China. But what do they have for us? When I want to get $2.5 million for the Blue Water Ferry, they tell me they don't have any money. Seriously, to open a border crossing that is essential to trade between the U.S. and Canada, especially during a period of time when NAFTA negotiations are going on.
Yep. Well, now she's getting some money to her riding. She getting some money into a bank account too? Marilyn, tell us, were you lying then or are you lying now? Which is it? Back out on the street here, we've got Max asking one of these liberals here about housing prices. Listen to this.
What riding are you from?
Milton East, Halton Hills South.
Milton East, and you're a Liberal MP?
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Sure. What's your name?
My name is Max.
Thanks.
I'm just wondering why so many young Canadians like myself, I can't afford a home. And I'm wondering, what is the Liberal Party doing in order to help that?
Well, I actually have my daughter with me. She's in her mid-20s and she just got married last year and they're hoping to save up for a home as well. I actually have 4 young adult children at home who are trying to save up. So I understand the challenge. I'm living it firsthand. I think it's a supply and demand issue, partially. So what we have to do is catalyze home building in our country, because when the supply increases, the prices go down.
Oh, that's right. We need to catalyze the situation. That'll solve it. This is ridiculous rhetoric. Stop kissing Carney's boots. This lady's living it firsthand. She's got 4 kids at home who can't afford houses. She knows full well that those kids are screwed. She's probably whispering in their ear, go down to America where you can have a good life, because that's not going to happen here.
Right? Now, this is a big issue and it requires a lot of policy contemplation and implementation, and specifically working very closely with our municipalities. I was a municipal councillor.
Oh yeah, working very close with the municipalities. We're not going to talk about the millions of people from South Asia that they brought in, now essentially forcing these people into poverty after they get off the free taxpayer handouts. They can't afford to live either. They eventually go back. Some people get trained, they leave, they go back. Our university students can't find houses, can't get jobs, so they go to America. We're just paying, subsidizing these universities, new technologies, patents, all this stuff gets bought up by America. Everyone goes down to America or goes back to South Asia or wherever it may be. It's not the immigration. It's just a little supply and demand. If only we could catalyze the situation. Unfortunately, I think she actually believes immigration has been drastically reduced.
So you've seen the immigration numbers drastically reduced. Again, it's a type of policy that takes some time to implement, because you do have applications in the pipeline that are backlogged.
Yeah, that's outright lies. They've minimized the drastic increase by Justin Trudeau, so it's slightly less than Trudeau's outrageous numbers. They're not less than they were before. There's no way this will go down. We have to close the border. I thought I'd share this clip. I have a bunch of you sending this to me as I got a shout out here on the Blueprint podcast here from John Broussard.
It's important that you bring this up, because we sit here as members of parliament. As chair of the ethics committee, I have a front row seat to all of this stuff that's going on. There are independent journalists who are uncovering these things. I can think, Moose on the Loose. If people aren't following him, they should, because he's uncovering. Look, we have our own shop, right? Internal shop, and we're doing much of the same work that he's doing. But there are places for people to go to truly understand what the hell is going on in this country and who is getting rich from the Treasury right now. Yes. And
And of course, the blueprint.
Well, and that's it. You know, the world's second
most
popular podcast next to Joe Rogan. But you know, like
I appreciate the shout out. And for everyone that asked, do the conservatives know about me? Yes, they do. As John said there, to learn about, you know, where the money's going, what's happening in our country. That's why I'm thinking about reworking the entire Moose chart here. I'm trying to come up with a structure that I'll be able to expand indefinitely, because when I started this, I had no idea that Brookfield had 2,000 companies that they own or partially own. And I have a whole bunch of them off to the side here. All these ones, I haven't put them onto the chart yet. These are either companies they're working with or companies they own themselves, like Brookfield Japan Holdings. Well, what are they working on? I don't know. There's just so much to work at here, but I've completely overgrown this current layout. Now, I'll note a couple things on the chart here. I've got a bunch of stuff on here I haven't talked about, and I have some stuff here I've been working on for months. I release it at specific times, trying to have maximum impact. Some of the stuff I've been holding on to for a long time. You can see these green check marks is where I'm usually hiding stuff in plain sight. On the public chart, you won't see this stuff because I delete it. There's one up there. There's one over here. There's one over here. Moving ahead, we've got Brittany posting this, some bylaw updates coming from the Cowichan Valley Regional District. And what are we seeing? They're cracking down on Canadians that are already struggling, have nowhere to go.
I live in the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. Many of you may have seen the new incoming CBRD bylaws.
So limits on RVs. We've got an infographic showing this. Housing crisis, who cares? So the bylaw number here, 4710, basically they're making it so you can only live in an RV if you're building a dwelling. You can't live there year round. Even if it's a piece of land you own and you're putting your RV on the land, you can't do that anymore. They got chickens here. You've got minimums of a hectare size for hens, up to 6, no roosters. You can't have docks anymore, even if it's on your own property, on your own lake. There's violations for bylaws here. Fine not exceeding $50,000. So she's sharing another one here. There's a bunch of these bylaw changes. Right away, the Moose caught my eye. It says the elk buffet, CVRD, wants front yard fences limited to 4 feet. I can tell you how ridiculous that is because I live on a corner here and deer come from across the street in the greenbelt and jump right in the yard and they'll eat everything and then they'll leave. So if you have any sort of plants, you're growing strawberries or whatever it is, they'll eat everything, all the leaves, and then all your plants die. For that reason, you have to have at least 6-foot fence, and then on top of it, you put some of that mesh stuff with some sticks up there to make it about 8 feet tall because they can jump 8 feet. If they look at your fence and it's at least 6 to 7 feet tall or 8 feet tall with an extension on top, then they won't go for it. It's too much effort. But if it's 4 feet, they will hop over that like it is nothing. It's got all sorts of stuff here. Look at this warrantless entry. CVRD bylaw officers can now walk onto your private land whenever they want to inspect your chickens and fences. No warrant needed. Our country's going down a slippery slope here. The Hobbit House, CVRD wants to cap structures at 15 feet. Good luck fitting a truck in a garage that small. Project vehicles have a boat, truck, old Jeep in your driveway without plates. Now you're running a junkyard according to them. Get out of Cowichan. Escape while you can.